I'm David Heitler-Clevens.
And I'm Rodney Wittenberg. And this is Music for the New Revolution.
Welcome to part 2 of our investigation into racial justice, family music, and the Recording Academy Grammy process. We're going to start things off with another song from Freelon. This one is called My Body, and it features Rissi Palmer.
Choice. You got a brain and a mouth, so use your voice. Be bold, speak up, don't be afraid. No one should ever make you feel hurt or ashamed. 'Cause when you feel good, you say so. But when you don't, you can say no. 'Cause my body is my body is my body, my body is my body is my body is my body is it's not yours, it's mine. My body is my body is my is mine. Oh, my body is my body is it's not yours, it's mine. Nah, nah, it's my body, nah, nah, it's my body. Oh, nah, nah, it's my body, oh, mine. A C-O-N-S-E-N-T. If you wanna know, just ask me, please.
C-O-N-S-E-N-T. If you wanna know, just ask me, please.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Respect my words and my boundaries.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Respect my words and my boundaries.
Listen here, you don't want to touch, you don't need to fear. This is your body, no one else tells you how to feel. Here's the deal, you can give consent and you can repeal. This is real, if you need a shield, tell them how you feel. I got body autonomy, body autonomy. I don't want you to talk to me about my bodily qualities, so nobody dishonor me. I got sovereignty over my body, nobody's property, cause I own the monopoly. I got body autonomy, body autonomy, body autonomy, body autonomy, body autonomy, body autonomy.
It's my
The majority of this episode is going to consist of interviews that we conducted with some wonderful performers. And the first of those is going to be with Cristina Sanabria, who is part of Uno, Dos, Tres Andrés with her husband, Andrés.
Well, Andrés grew up in Colombia, in Bogota, Colombia in South America. And he was working in music from childhood and came to the US to do graduate studies in music, focusing on classical music. So he ended up getting a master's and a doctorate in clarinet studies, thinking that he was going to be a clarinet professor. But along the way, kind of discovered this option of children's music as a career and really fell in love with it. And right at that time, I was actually a classroom teacher in Philadelphia. And that's when we met, and we kind of combined this interest in education and music. And that's how it all started.
Wow.
So it's been about 10 years that we've been working on on Uno, Dos, Tres, Andrés. And from the very beginning, we knew that we wanted it to be bilingual and bicultural, reflecting, the reality of a lot of kids growing up in the US, like myself. I grew up in the US, but my parents were from Colombia as well. And so, I spoke Spanish at home, and I watched telenovelas, and I listened to, Selena, and I had different like cultural references than my classmates at school, but I had, but there were things that we had in common, but there was kind of another world that I also kind of tapped into. So we wanted to do a project that reflected that.
We're especially focusing in this episode about the events recently with the children's category, and the fact that all 5 nominees were white and 4 of those were male, and the recent events with 3 of those white artists removing themselves from the running, which is a very bold step to make, and a bold statement, I think. And so, we're getting people to kind of weigh in on, talking about these recent events and what needs to happen with the Grammy process to deal with some of the racism and sexism that may be in the process. We turn it over to you to comment on those things.
Well, I would say that there are definitely a lot of people thinking about what can be done to address this. I would say a couple things. First, that this year is really surprising because it was just so kind of clear cut, but that it's a long-standing situation, right? So the numbers are that over the past 10 years, only 12% of the nominees have been acts that are led or co-led by people of color. So when we have a population under 18 that is more than half non-white in the US. So I would also say that it's, bigger than the Grammys, right? It's bigger than, we can talk about committees and processes and protocols and governing boards and chapters, but it is larger than the Grammys. Well, this summer, everybody was paying a lot more attention to racial equality issues. And so I'm not entirely certain if this summer, I can't say myself if this summer is an outlier or is not, but I will say that I saw at least 2 festivals, virtual festivals that were all white. And we recently became aware of another theater that's planning their virtual festival that was also going to be all white. And there are different reasons for that. One is that people just kind of go with who they know, and that it's kind of a repeating cycle, right? And so if you get a gig at a well-known venue, then you're going to get more recognition broadly, and then you're going to get called for more of those kinds of high caliber, high profile events. So, those are just some examples of ways that you can see it. But sometimes, I think it's important to see, right? You might just kind of be on autopilot and doing, being in your world. Definitely before COVID, we were traveling a lot. We were doing our performances. We were, thinking about next week, next month, and maybe not taking a step back to look and see. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I would also say that it goes to gender as well. And that we have to see both situations where it is maybe mostly white faces versus people of color, and also mostly men versus women, and then also nuances within that. Like there might be a lot of women, but are there a lot of women of color? There might be a lot of people of color, but are there Black people? Where are the Native American kindy performers? So there's a lot of nuances, a lot of things to dig into.
Did you have a reaction to the nominees who decided to withdraw from the process in the children's category? Did you have any feelings about that?
Yes, definitely. And I think that that action has caused initially the press to take notice that something's going on. It's important that that isn't the story. The story isn't that 3 of the nominees declined their nomination, but rather the story is that 5 nominees were white in the first place. So I think that future press coverage and hopefully we'll all work together to make sure that the right story is being told. But that's definitely an attention-grabbing thing that their action and their decision, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it on many different levels. So this song is called El Girasol. It means the sunflower, and we wrote it primarily to teach the pronunciation in Spanish of the GE and GI combination. So girasol with a GI. But I love this song first because of its upbeat rhythm. We get a lot of families, even those who speak no Spanish, that really like the rhythm and the beat. And also because the song is kind of a cycle. So it says, I planted a sunflower, it grew so large that people came from all over to see. And then it says, well, why did the people come? They came to see the sunflower, which grew so large that it drew so many people to come and see. Why did the people come? Oh, they came to see the sunflower, which and on and on. And I think it's I love that message because it says that if you plant something and you take care of it and it grows, people will come join you and see what it is you're doing, and it breeds more love and the cycle continues. So that's why I love that song, El Girasol.
Hola, Cristina.
Hola, Andrés.
Hola, niños. Cristina, ¿qué hace toda esta gente aquí?
La gente vino a ver el girasol.
Sembré un girasol, girasol, girasol. Empezó a germinar, germinar, germinar. Creció muy gigante, gigante, gigante. Y vino la gente.
¿A qué vino la gente?
A ver el girasol, girasol, girasol. Que empezó a germinar, germinar, germinar. Creció muy gigante, gigante, gigante. Y vino la gente.
Cantemos con la gente.
La G con la E, G, 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 G. La G con la I, 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 I. La G con la E, G, 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 G. La G con la I, 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 I. Sembré un girasol, girasol, girasol. Empezó a germinar, germinar, germinar. Creció muy gigante, gigante, gigante. Y vino la gente.
¿A qué vino la gente?
A ver el girasol, girasol, girasol. Que empezó a germinar, germinar, germinar. Creció muy gigante, gigante, gigante. Y vino la gente.
¿A qué vino la gente?
A ver el girasol, el girasol.
We continue with our interview segments. We'll hear from Tommy Shepard of Alphabet Rockers, Elena Moon Park, who has worked with Dan Zanes, and SaulPaul.
Got into wanting to do children's music through hip hop, through the genre and the aesthetics. When I was out of college, I started being a teaching artist and was with a crew that was teaching all the elements of hip hop through in schools, but we were, pairing them to math problems or pairing them to different standards, but also using the aesthetics and the elements of hip hop to educate. This is way before I met Caitlin McGaw, who is the co-founder of Alphabet Rockers, with myself. And basically had been just a teaching artist, teaching kids with all of this stuff. Caitlin approached me around 2007 and said, "Hey, I'm doing a show for kids, and it's hip hop music for kids, and I need a partner because the person I was going to do it with can't do it." And so we did that, and then we didn't stop. So that's what it is. So I didn't consider it being children's music until people started noticing me as not the adult rapper that I was normally or regularly known as. I was this other person, but I've since worked to merge those two people together, and it's all good. So there it is. And now I don't even really say children's music. I say family music.
Well, I've been playing music my whole life. I was a violin player growing up. I got a little disillusioned with the Western classical violin music world around college time, and I took a detour. Actually, I shouldn't call it a detour because it ended up really defining my life, but I started doing a lot of work in community development organizations, grassroots like social justice organizations. I lived in Chicago. I worked in South and West Chicago. When I got to New York, I met two colleagues of mine now who were doing work with collaborative music creation with lots of different kinds of communities. And I joined their organization. It's called Found Sound Nation. And around the same time, I also met Dan Zanes. And I had really never even known that this music was a genre, its own separate genre, like that family music and all ages music was a thing until I had met him. But what I really found was that the work that I was doing in the organization Found Sound Nation and the work that Dan was doing through playing all ages music had a very similar mission and philosophy and approach to it, which is just about like using music to connect people and to lift voices and to bring people together. And so the first show I ever played with Dan Zanes, like I really didn't know what I was doing. And also I never played like folk music before on my violin. It was like all classical. And I did a terrible job musically, but I had one of the best times I've ever had playing for kids and parents. And I've been doing it ever since. And after being in his band for a couple of years, he encouraged me actually to make an album of my own of music from East and Southeast Asia. And that's how I got into my own kind of East Asian music, reimagined East Asian music world with my own band.
And they are great. And Ellen, I don't know if you remember, we worked together before. We spent an afternoon.
Yes, that's right. I'm trying to remember this.
Working with kids, playing music together through the Intercultural Journeys, the show you did.
Oh, wow. That's right. Well, it's great to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
It's a small world.
It's a small world. Yeah.
Cool.
Hello, everyone. I'm SaulPaul, musician with the message. When I graduated college a while ago, over a decade, I knew I had this inherent responsibility to give back. I went to the University of Texas at Austin, got a film degree, and discovered I was a storyteller. At that same time, I discovered I was a musician. Initially, I used to just freestyle, make up improvisational songs with words like jazz musicians do it with instruments. And I worked in television, and then I was like, you know what? I just want to do music full. Like that's all I want to do. And so I resigned working at the television station. That was my last corporate gig. And I started doing music, and my music always came from a personal place. Like I had this unique story. The reason why I felt I had this inherent responsibility to give back is because before I graduated from college with a 4.0, I was incarcerated and convicted of 4 felonies and sat in the Texas State Penitentiary. But when I sat in the Texas State Penitentiary, I realized that It wasn't just my circumstances, like the fact that my mom died, my dad left, I grew up in the ghetto. I was raised in extreme poverty in a bad neighborhood. Those were my circumstances, but like I was in prison because of my choices. And I realized if I could change my choices, I could change my life. I did. So then I went against the odds. I got out of prison. Then I went to college and then graduated with this 4.0. I went from 4 felonies to a 4.0. But in that process, I realized that, wow, there were a lot of people that tried to steer me the right way. They just didn't say it the right way. So good intent, great heart, but not the best messaging. And I realized that when I spoke and when I shared my music, it connected with these young people and they really heard and caught what I was putting out. And so from the very beginning, I'd always served young people, primarily Black and brown youth, young students in elementary and middle school. It wasn't until 2016 when I was invited to be a member on the Recording Academy, a board, the governor, a board member. And then I had the opportunity to go to the Grammys. And then, you know, I went to the Grammys and then they gave away all 80 plus awards. And one of those awards was Best Children's Album. And my jaw dropped because at this point I've been doing children's music, unbeknownst to me, for over a decade. And I was like, what? Children's music? I didn't know it existed. So then I sought out the community, sought out the folks that were making change and making music. And since 2016 have been have been immersed in what is officially known as the children's music industry.
That's awesome.
This year, with lots of great diverse submissions, we ended up with 5 white nominees, and a number of people have, you know, been very upset about that, and including some of the nominees who have actually, you know, withdrawn. But you know, we wanted this story to be particularly about focusing on the worthy music that maybe is not getting the attention it needs to get, and how we might turn that around. So love to get you to weigh in on, you know, this narrative and how you feel about it and what you think needs to be done.
There was an artist a couple of years ago that has a bunch of Grammys, and he was talking about the Grammys when he won a Grammy, and he shouted out to all the artists that to remember that awards are subjective. It's not like basketball. Like in basketball, you know who won, you know who lost, because there's a scoreboard, there's very clear structure around it. But when it comes to this, critiquing and judging music, it's subjective. So I really felt that. That's definitely been my approach. I get it. I wasn't surprised when the nominations came out. What did shock me is that this year, like the cliche, I like to say the cliche thing to do would be there should at least be one Black artist this year. Like, it's just a cliche thing to do. It's like a Geico commercial. It's just what you do. And that's when I was like, dang, are they that tone deaf? Like, not one? Like, it's just what you do. So that really shocked me. The fact that there's lack of diversity doesn't shock me. We can go deeper into that if we want. But the data, right? Because everyone has an opinion and we're all entitled to them. But the data is, in 10 years, 50 nominees, only 6% of those nominees have been Black or Black-led. And then the other stat that needs to go along with that is that like more than 50% of the children under the age of 15 are children of color. So like that part just doesn't add up. And that's my issue and concern.
This has been a fight of mine for the past 30 years, trying to make people recognize that there needs to be appropriate music for children, urban, children of color, however you want to define it, right, out there. And so one of my questions is, do you think that the children's music genre is being redefined? Because I've been in this fight for a long time, trying to get music that is diverse, ethnic, Black, message driven, and and it's been a fight and resistance. I'm also a former board governor and have been on a number of committees, and particularly with the Grammys, trying to just open that up has been very challenging. So I guess and this is a question for all three of you. Do you find that, because I think it starts with audiences, do you find that the children's genre is being redefined as more people like yourselves are getting into the business of making music for kids?
I think there's a reperceptioning happening because Black folks, people of color, have been in children's music for a while, but I think America's perception of what children's music is guitars and banjos and whiteness, pretty much. It's really what the perception is. It's always been here. So I think what's happening is a reckoning. It's a shift of focus. It's a shift of perception because this has always been here. You know, I think about Ella Jenkins, who does not have a Grammy, but has an award named after her with the Grammy, with the Recording Academy. Mm-hmm. You know, that is a very interesting thing to think about. You know, and you know, most Americans just see children's music as white, and so I think that I don't, because I know that it's different, and so that's what most of us artists out here doing, is really just pulling focus from like all of the privilege and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think children's music, all ages music, family music, whatever you want to call it. I mean, all of us, I think, expressed a surprise or not really knowing about this as a genre coming up in the musical world. It's a funny genre to institutionalize, I guess. And anything that's institutionalized, I think, gets institutionalized in a certain way. And those things are hard to shift when they're in their institutions. So I think the perceptions within that genre definitely are dominated by certain voices. And I think that there is a good shift happening. I think there is some surprise. I mean, similarly, surprised but not surprised, right? Like the fact that in the Grammy world of this institution of children's music, it's like one step behind. I think this year it's pretty glaring that there was not any consideration of what's happening in the world around us and what's happening within the genre, and that should be reflected in what's going on in the Grammys this year. But I do think that there is more awareness. And again, like, you know, these things have to happen on a deep level before they can be reflected. Maybe they don't have to, but often they need to happen on a deep level before they're reflected in these symbols, you know. And it's good if there is a deeper questioning that's happening this year because of the situation. Maybe it will set some roots for us to really be able to expand our awareness and our knowledge of what else is going on in the world other than like the dominant voices within an institution.
You know, when you're talking about the deeper aspect of this, I mean, it is a vote initially, and in between there's that committee, but first everybody votes, and then we end up with the nominees who we vote for again. And so there is a way in which, aside from the structural things, it's an educating of the members, that people need to be responsible in voting and really listen to all the things in the category. And that's one thing I think a lot of people don't do. And I think if people did that with open ears, they would have heard some incredible quality things that didn't get the nomination. Hopefully those would have. So it's partly that aspect of it. But then there are institutional things that I think we're all aware of.
The response you get from an audience versus the response you get from media, is that different? Is it changing? Do you find a place where people can hear the music that's not related to a live performance? What are your thoughts? Because I think that's part of the issue too, is it's not only the Grammy organization, but it's also outlets for diverse children's music.
Yeah, that's a great one. I think at this point, someone would mention, I don't know, I won't speak on anyone else. What has stood out to me when I discovered the children's music industry is that there was Sirius XM. That was a platform and that was an opportunity. Whereas like you can be in another genre like hip hop and there's just, like major radio stations, but they're owned by a conglomerate for the most part. It's hard to break into this, that, and the third. But I guess people's complaint, I get it. The complaint is that there aren't too many opportunities, but I don't know. My perspective is different. I can't play the victim. Like, they play me on Sirius XM and Kathy O'Connell show and other stations as well. And I saw that as an opportunity because I saw people being more open. I feel I have a better chance here than on my local Clear Channel owned radio station in my town. So I can't play the victim. Also, that's just not my approach. That's also not what I teach and preach to my young people. So I'm passionate about that. And it's business. I mean, also, there are many artists. I'm from Houston. Yeah, pick and choose. I think many times I'm also an artist advocate, and we can't get so focused on wanting to be part of established institutions. Like, man, that's their house. Like, we don't eat cranberry in my house for Thanksgiving. Like, my family, I didn't know what that was. That's different. You can't make me. And I get it. Other people was like, you can't make me like this or do that either. And then we could create our own, like Uncle Devin, who's created an amazing platform, We Nation Radio. So you can make your own. You can be on SoundCloud. There are numerous other ways to accomplish the task. There's people out here on SoundCloud with 1 million streams and they're not played on any radio station, monetizing their content, having a career. But if we want to just focus on this one platform, and you brought up a question. Let me try to end quickly because this is my soapbox. Like, the platforms that are established that we believe are basically biased, their audience is primarily not the audience for urban artists. In other words, the audience is primarily white. So it's like, if I break in, then it's like my goal was to reach diverse children. So to reach these to be on these platforms does not actually allow me to accomplish the goal of reaching my audience. Maybe it provides a validation. Maybe it's just like the reason why people want Grammys, right? You want to make great music and be appreciated for it, or you want to pat on the back and some type of commendation. I'm different. I'm really about to change it. I think that's what people should focus on. And you can do that, and you can do both. And I still spend a lot of my time dismantling these systems. At the same time, I think people need to get informed about what it is that you want, and if you got these things, will they help you accomplish your goal? So
that's a really great statement. Yes. So that leads me, I don't want to hear from everybody else, but it leads me to a follow-up question. What do you think then of the white men who decided to pull their nomination? Do you think that it's, what do you think? Because there's based on what you're saying, there's a whole bunch of different ways you could look at that gesture as either being heroic or empty or why bother?
I think it's epic. I'll let everybody else speak. I think it's epic. Everybody got opinions. I'm about that. I'm about action. Salute to them, man. They made an actual sacrifice. Everybody got opinions about it. I got opinions about when a player should play hurt. But I'm at home in an air-conditioned house. They're actually in a football game. You know what I mean? It's like, it's different. These people got a Grammy nomination, multiple at that. But that's really that's honestly irrelevant. They took the sacrifice. We're talking about them now. Somebody else is somewhere talking about them very negatively. I think that's what it looks like to give up your power or your privilege, or to use it to actually pay the cost, to make room. Because people like to talk about a lot of stuff, but it's like we all have an opportunity to be the change. So honestly, those three artists, those artists, I think we're witnessing history. People minimize it a little bit because of the genre. I don't. It's the Grammy, and they put themselves out there. So I just find that impressive. Where I see other people won't even speak up. That's how we get to where we are. When it's see something, say something. Mm-hmm. So I respect those people who saw something and then put some skin in the game and did something. Regardless how you feel about it, but I passed to one of my fellow artists.
I love everything you just said, SaulPaul. I mean, there's a whole it's a whole ecosystem. I agree with that. And this, the Grammy nominations is one symptom of like a whole of how an entire ecosystem is working. And I think the both and, like, I think finding ways to change the major institutions within that ecosystem. I don't know much about that personally because I'm not a great marketer of my own music. I will say that up front. But also, creating your own platforms and your own communities and ways of sharing and expressing and connecting with people to build is so inspiring in any world, in any genre of music, and We Nation and all of that. Everything that's happening around that is super inspiring. And I agree with you, SaulPaul, in terms of what's happened with the Grammys this year. I think it's one. I think it's coming from a place of sincerity and of wanting to really to say something. And there is a definite role to play when you've been part of a dominant institution in any setting. And I think that kind of action is it is actual action, and it's valuable in my opinion.
That's awesome. I'm just gonna piggyback because this is all good stuff that I can concur with and align with. I would say that the type of sacrifice that these nominees made is a type of sacrifice that a lot of Black, Indigenous people of color have to do through their whole lives. And so it's very commendable for someone to like really understand that that's what that is about. That if I just let this ride, then I'm just doing what I've always done with using my privilege. They're right now using their privilege for good. And it's awesome. Still not handing out no trophies, but for something that that I feel like you should have done. You know what I mean? Like, just in my opinion, it was a no-brainer. But that's a hard thing to tell someone is like, yeah, just sacrifice it all. You know what I mean? When you're in a culture that sacrificing is part of it, then that it doesn't, it's not that big of a deal. But on this side of it, it is huge, and I love it. Now, as far as what I was going to say about XM radio and stuff, I agree with SaulPaul, but I also feel like it's not for me about getting on XM radio and these other outlets. It's about why I have to be on those things in order to be heard, in order to be recognized as what this is. And so that's when we talk about systems. It's like that's XM radio and all that stuff is small fish in the pond when you think about anti-racism. And when you talk about people in the room that you can't control in the room on committees and like all that stuff, it's the work that they're doing on anti-racism that is actually gonna make things better and make things change. And as soon as like we actually start thinking anti-racism instead of racism, then racism is just gonna exist, like, and there won't be any there won't be any adverse to that. So I think it's really important that that's what these systems are really rooted in white privilege and the privilege to be able to buy your PR person, to be able to pay for 8 months of nurturing and doing all this stuff in your marketing and all of this stuff, so that you can have this quality thing that then is going to get bigger and bigger because you're afforded to pay for it. And what I see happening right now in a lot of people is that they're actually confronting their whiteness and their privilege, and they're actually like facing it head on instead of denying it. Right now, denying it ain't trending. It's not. It's actually coming forth with it, and like being learned and read is not even trending anymore. You're supposed to already have read the books. You know what I mean? So like this anti-racism stuff is like a lifelong process, and if you haven't jumped on board, you still have an opportunity to get on board. You start from there. Other people have been working in anti-racism and practices of that their whole lives. And some people are just joining. What I would say is just join it. Don't worry about where you are on the learning curve. Get up in there,
I want to piggyback what Tommy just said. I want to piggyback that because if you say Grammys or Recording Academy or XM or whatever else in the ecosystem, you can miss, like, no, that's just people. Like people have to do anti-racism work. Like the Grammys don't do anti-racism work. Like people at the Grammys might, people at XM might, people, and it goes back to people. Because otherwise you hide behind like the label of a thing, but it's like people. People compose the systems. People make the decisions. People make system. People create these systems. And so it goes back to people, and it goes back to accountability. And that's a big piece, because people are the ones who have to do the anti-racism work. People have to own it. People have to be like, okay, this is my spot in it. This is my sphere of influence, and this is where I'm gonna make the change. That's what the nominees did. They were just afforded that opportunity because there were only 5 of them, and they were the ones who made that decision. Others weren't afforded that opportunity. Somebody else is an event booker is afforded the opportunity to do the anti-racism work, so they don't just have one diversity slot. Like there are artists, we don't have a Hispanic artist on right now, right? We only have 3 of us, but you probably had it before or after, right? But I forget. I don't want to misquote, so I'll just say there was a Latina artist, a Hispanic artist who told her story about how somebody reached out to her to be on a bill, and then they reached back out to say, "Oh, my bad, I got the wrong Spanish chick." Like literally, and then they booked her. They booked the other person instead. Or times when they told her like, "Oh, we can't book you because we already have that slot filled." Like they only had space for like that one quote unquote diversity hire, the one this person or that person. But that goes back to people. So people need to do the work, because people will be the ones that change the system.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the long term, I just want to piggyback on what Tommy was saying. I mean, you know, how is this? How do we make this not like a surface level reactionary thing on an institutional level? And it's like building these long term relationships. And you know, a lot of people are, like you said, it's trending, right? It's been trending right now. But like, how can we make this not a trend? Look to people who have been doing this work their entire lives and have been that have some answers, but also, you know, like put the pressure on yourself to go long term and to think, you know, lifelong with this, and don't let urgency and like, you know, reactionary and quick fixes and quick answers rule the conversation all the time, in my opinion.
So, what do you guys think is next? What do you think needs to happen now?
I think there's a lot of pain coming. I think there's a lot of healing coming.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of perspective and shift of focus happening. I feel like a lot of defensiveness is coming. But I think that also I see hope. There's a lot of things I don't have faith in changing, but change is possible in other areas. That's what I see coming.
I feel very appreciative that we're in this forum where I've met these 2 artists, because because of my kind of have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, I feel like in the family music world, I found myself in this world, and I should learn. I should do my own work and be more a part of it and be more engaged with the genre, I think. And I'm really happy to meet both of you, SaulPaul and Tommy. And I hope that this can be like the beginning of a connection. And I think these kinds of relationships and connections, sharing ideas, supporting each other on the long term is what inspires me the most. So I'm excited to hopefully do that moving forward.
Thank you. I believe what's next is, I believe the time is now. When George Floyd was murdered, it really changed. I don't know. It was different. Who knows why? Not here to speculate that now. You know, but it was different, even though it was the same. Nothing about his murder surprised me, sadly. I've witnessed that my entire life. But what I did notice was different is that the world responded differently. Our country responded differently. And there was a authenticity, not as a whole, but like, I feel like if people have solutions, people are open to them now. Where before you could have had the best answer in the world, but people didn't care. There wasn't an opportunity. There wasn't a window. So there's a window right now for the leaders, for those that have solutions to lead, because people are open to it. So this is my call, my challenge to all those that have been doing the work, that have answers, to step up and to step into it, to push past the dullness, the numbness that comes from, but like, no, people are open to it right now. But it's about having, it's about answers right now. So that excites me. That's encouraging in the midst of all this, because there are people out there that are doing the work. Alphabet Rockers just came out with a tool. We got work to do. Anti-racism for families. Like, you can start young. It's a lifelong process. Myself, I've been from my latest album was called Be the Change. My take on Be the Change is challenging individuals to have personal responsibility and be the change in the world they live in. See, the fact is we all stay on the same planet, but the truth is we each live in our own world. Like, be the change in the world you live in. Quit worrying about what the next person should do, could do, and who could have did it better, or how it could have been done more efficiently. Just be the change in the world you live in. If everyone did that, simple as it sounds, collectively, the world would be better. So that's what I believe is next. People stepping up, stepping into it, and being the change.
Excellent. Yeah, this is. I'm really appreciate the three of you being here with us today. This is really great. And I wonder if maybe before we finish up, do any of you want to speak at all about Family Music Forward as a movement, institution, organizing entity?
The mission of Family Music Forward is we're committed to transforming family music by supporting Black artists, children, and communities, and dismantling individual, institutional, and systemic racial bias within the industry. That's the whole industry. We really are looking to peel the onion on all this stuff, so we can get to a place of, like, solidarity, and into a place of actually really what we're trying to do about changing systems. It's really, our take is who we're going to center, not who's not getting centered. We're talking about who is going to be centered. Like, it's more positive than like, these people aren't centered. Nope, we're centering the people that aren't always centered. That's what we're interested in. SaulPaul, how'd I do?
Man, you killed it. Like, I'm snap. That was it. That was the mission. Period. Let it end there. And I like to just say, that's the thing. Like, that's what it's really about. It's about amplifying Black voices, because representation matters. Like, you got to think about that. Like we all know it. Like, representation matters. And so we need to see us. And it's exciting that FMF is this diverse group of Black and people of color and white, people that all have the same mindset. We all recognize it, because when it's better for Black, it's better for all. What's better for Black families and Black children, it's better for the whole. So it's really about amplifying Black voices, because representation matters. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. And it's open to all. So if anybody wants to find out more about it, they could find us on Facebook, Family Music Forward, and you can find out a way to become engaged. But it's crazy, because in the midst of all this, man, like, it's about the kids. And so in the midst of the industry and the genre and this, that, and the third, and I care about the young people. Like, that's why I didn't know. Side note, it's so crazy that none of us knew the children's music industry existed, which says a lot, but it's like 3 people of color. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that happened. Like, we grew up, we heard music growing up. It was never for us. We were never included. And it's the same, I believe it's the same for these young children. Like, they just don't know it's there, because that's when the ecosystem starts to count, and like how it trickles down and trickles into, and that's why it's relevant. But for me, I'm personally passionate about the young people. I do like people, so I serve my peers. I can do both and. But my music is for kids. I I often joke with young people, like the cool part about y'all still impressionable. Old people, which I tell them anybody over 21 is old to them, right? I'm like, old people, they got problems, man. They trying to figure it out. They beef. Should they have gave up a Grammy? Should they have not? They find anything to argue about. Young people listen to act like they're open. If you say something, you got a solution, they're like, that makes sense. So I'm building tomorrow about the young people that I'm pouring into. So anyway, I'll set my song up. I know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be I Am Enough. So what's up, world? It's your boy SaulPaul. This song that we're about to play is called I Am Enough. It's on my album Be the Change. I mean, the title says it all. Really, I saw this song when I created it as a mantra that the young person could speak over themselves. So if you peep it, that's really what it is. It's a script that a young person could say and speak over themselves as they continually remind themselves that they are enough. And the song is called I Am Enough.
I don't know what you've been told, but I don't know why I feel so fly. I love the skin I'm in. I am intelligent. Oh, how great does it feel to wake up and know that I'm real? I don't have to pretend. My friends know who I am, and they accept me for me. Yeah, like especially for me. I am smart and I am creative. I think out the box, I'm innovative. If I don't know, I investigate it. I am a boss, I'm administrative. I'm quick to listen, I practice patience. I do it big, I was born for greatness. Sometimes I'm scared, but I am courageous. Always because I know I can make it. I don't know what you've been told, but I am enough. Wait, I mean more than enough. I don't know why I feel so fly, but I should probably have wings, cause I'm just doing my thing. I am enough and I am loved. I'm at the top, I'm up above. I shine bright like lightning bugs. I stand out, that's just what's up. I will not quit, I was born to win. When I make mistakes, I try it again. Love my family and help all my friends. Others can hate, it is what it is. Confident in all that I do. Honest, brave, and positive too. I choose to be kind and also thankful. I give what I give, that's why my team full. I am gifted and talented. I do a lot, but I balance it. I know when I cannot handle it. That's why I'm not scared of new challenges. I don't know what you've been told, but I am enough. Wait, I mean more than enough. I don't know why I feel so fly, but I should probably have wings, cause I'm just doing my thing. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Okay, we still clapping. We still going? Okay. I said you put good in, then you get good out, then you spread it all around, cause that's what it's all about. I said you put good in, then you get good out, then you spread it all around, cause that's what it's all about, yeah.
Yeah, well, so earlier this year I released an album called Unhurried Journey, and it's really all about taking a breath for yourself, and looking at the cycles around you in nature and the world to kind of rejuvenate, regenerate. And I think it's really important for all of us to slow down a little bit sometimes, and for self-care, and for us to be just to feel kind of healthy with ourselves by taking time. And the song is called The Flower Dance. I learned it from a Cambodian musician. Actually, it's a Cambodian folk song that's just about cycles of flowers. And I found that it was in its simplicity, it's super wise. There's a lot of wisdom in the simplicity itself, and it's about how we are constantly cycling and how we could take time to celebrate that and look within ourselves. And I like that it features a lot of Cambodian artists and musicians, and there's a Cambodian hand motion dance that you can learn to go along with it and learn a little bit something about that beautiful culture. So it's the flower dance.
កាអើយលៀងខ្លួនក្នុងបឹងសែនឆ្ងាយអោសង្ក្រវាអើយកាសរាយកាដងរាយបាយកាដងរាយបាយក្នុងទីទឹកថ្លា ចាំឃុំការីចាំឃុំមកក្រៀបលំអង
This song I want to play for you is called Until You're Free, and it guests with SaulPaul, Un Dos Tres, Andrés, Genevieve Goings, and Lucy Calantari. And this song is really about freedom, and if all these people in our country are not free, then we aren't free. So I'm not free until you're free. Let's get it.
Yo, until you're free, I'll be learning about your life and rights. Looking out for what you need, working to adjust my sight. See, until you're free, I'll be stepping up physically, putting focus on the real pick, taking responsibility. I'm not trying to live in a world that wants to remove you. I'm trying to be in a place with space to include you. We out here playing by rules that muffle the truth, which eventually becomes soundproof. Say it loud.
I'm the one standing up. I'm the one standing up. I'll be lifting you up. I'll be lifting you up. I will never slow down. I will never slow down. No better time than now. No better time than now. I'm free until you're free. And we will be louder and stronger together. Time's up, dream. Time's up, speak. Time's up, lead. Time's up, believe. That the time is now. That we got the power. Stand up side by side, impossible to break us down. Time's up, dream. Time's up, speak. Time's up, lead. Time's up, believe. That the time is now. That we got the power. Stand up side by side, impossible to break us down.
We can make a bigger voice. We can make it twice as loud. We can make a better choice. We can be proud.
Ven conmigo y alcemos una sola voz, que se escuche en cada esquina de este mundo. Tú decides, puedes elegir mejor, sentir orgullo de lo que logramos juntos.
Now is the time though, yeah, but you gon' need some spine though, yeah, you gon' need some backbone. We lost love, it's time to find it, bring it back home. Turn the lights on, where the lights at, your presence is a present. It's time to fight back, stand up, history. Choices dictate everything that you finna see. You either spectate or you create. You either at the table or be what's on the plate.
Somos más fuertes cuando nos unimos. Ser solidarios es lo que elegimos. No se trata de lo mío, no se trata de lo tuyo. Yo te apoyo, doy mi mano, lo hago con orgullo. I'm not free until you're free. We will be louder and stronger together. Are we free if you're not free? Can we be louder and stronger together? Time's up, dream. Time's up, speak. Time's up, lead. Time's up, believe. That the time is now, that we got the power. Stand up side by side, impossible to break us down. Time's up, dream. Time's up, speak. Time's up, lead. Time's up, believe. That the time is now, that we got the power. Stand up side by side, impossible to break us down.
You've been listening to Music for the New Revolution. I'm Rodney Wittenberg.
I'm David Heitler-Clevens.
Music for the New Revolution is produced at Melody Vision Recording Studios in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. Music for the New Revolution is written and produced by David Heitler-Clevens and Rodney Wittenberg.
And edited and co-produced by Ben Flax.
You can find us at musicforthenewrevolution.com or MFTNR. Like us on Facebook and follow our Spotify playlist.
And our podcasts can be found on SoundCloud and iTunes, and you can also be a patron, a supporter of our podcast on Patreon.
This is Music for the New Revolution.
Spend it all today and we will bill you tomorrow. 3-piece suits and bank accounts in Bahamas. Wall Street crime will never send you to the slammer. Tell all the children in the arms of the mamas. The F-15 is a homicide bomber. TV commercial for a pop-up pill culture. Drug companies circling like a vulture.